I have made that mistake in my career where I think people don't see the benefits on marketing a property that's for rent effectively. That's not always the way. There are some owners that take real pride in how their property is marketed.
You're listening to Elevate, the official podcast of elite agent for real estate industry, sales professionals, property managers and leaders. We bring you the best minds in business and real estate to help you list more, sell more and elevate your results. To download your written action guide from this podcast containing extra tips, links and shortcuts, visit eliteagentelevate.com. Now, here is your host, Samantha McLean.
Welcome to another episode of the Elevate podcast, where we delve into some of the most interesting minds in business and in real estate for the very best tips and strategies for you to implement to elevate your business. I'm Samantha McLean, editor of Elite Agent and host of this week's show. Joining me today is last year's winner of the area for Property Manager of the Year from Code Property in Queensland. Welcome to the podcast, Jamie Billerwell.
Thank you for having me.
Well, it's awesome to catch up with you again. It's been a while since the areas last year. And obviously we're talking about the areas today. And I remember that night well because your mum was sitting beside me and she told me this story about how she'd snuck down to Melbourne unbeknownst to you. So can you tell me a little bit about that night?
Well, it really starts in our property management meeting, and I actually had a really good girlfriend who moved down to Melbourne. And I said to Candace, who's my director, "We have a spare ticket. Would you mind if a friend of mine came?" And she said, "Oh, look, no." And I thought, oh, that's a bit strange for her to be unwelcoming. You know, she's usually quite a friendly bugger. So anyway, turns out they'd actually put the ticket aside for my mum. So my partner Paul was there and mum flew down and I was getting my hair and makeup done. I was talking about her as she's come in the room behind me and I'm holding my 18th coffee for the day. And I turn to my left and there's mum there in my face. It's quite of a surreal experience, to be honest with you. And then I thought, oh my goodness, like I wasn't riddled with anxiety enough this whole process. You're here. The pressure is now on. So
yeah, well, I'll tell you a bit of a story from behind the scenes. As you know, we were covering the areas and when she said, "Oh, I'm Jamie's mum," I kind of got goosebumps because little secret is we get an embargoed press release before the event. It's like KPMG, you're just not allowed to tell. And she told me how she'd snuck into the event and surprised you and all the rest of it. And I thought, this is amazing, like what a great thing. And then when your name was called, I thought, I can't look at Jamie's mum, I'm going to cry. And then I ended up looking at her and she was crying and then I was crying and we're all crying and we're so happy for you. I'm crying now, actually. What did it feel like to you to have your name called?
it was surreal. I hand on heart, and it's not just me being humble, because people say that, oh, you're just being humble. No, I was shocked that I was even nominated, and winning, I thought, there is some other girl who's come in, possessed me, done all of this, and I'm just here for the champers. To be honest with you, I was legitimately in shock. I was in shock. You know, I was against two women who have a unbelievable reputation in the industry. So in my mind, I was going there to meet some people, and you know, I always told Mum that I was going to win a Grammy or something fabulous, and it's right up there, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, I can tell you we were very proud of you. You were looking absolutely stunning on stage there with REA CEO Owen Wilson. And, I mean, look, what a feather in your cap, because as you said, the field was pretty tight. Those ladies that you were up against were 20 years of experience, but you know, it just goes to show you that it's not always experience that is what the judges are looking for. Sometimes it's innovation and service and things like that, and we're going to get into that. But what about when you got home? Like, what did the win mean for Code Property Group?
The girls were so supportive, and this is the thing, as I've said that a million times over, I couldn't be here without my team. You know, it's definitely my name on the trophy, but there's a whole host of people behind that who's made that possible. So it was like a win for everyone. Everyone was really supportive, and much to my surprise, which is probably an ignorant comment, but much to my surprise, it built a lot of credibility for me in the market. I didn't realize how in depth landlords were researching me before I've even entered their property. So they were saying, oh, I know that you won an award last November and you wore a purple dress. Tell me about that. And I think, holy hell.
How did they know?
Yeah. So to be honest with you, for the team, for the code, it built credibility for the agency generally. But for the team, it connected us a little bit more and really, really put our name out there and one to be reckoned with, which was kind of fabulous because I love being an underdog.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And, well, you are the Property Manager of the Year, and those area awards, they are some of the hardest awards to win. Like, you've got to fight some serious competition, some serious judging, and a real feather in your cap. And, so happy for you. I suppose it feels like November is a long time ago now. So what's been happening for you this year? What's the market like at the moment for you?
I chuckle because 2020, I have had my biggest year yet as a BDM, and it's a combination of things. It's the ARIA award, it's the influence of the REIQ, it's my team, it's COVID generally. We were ahead of the curve a little bit, and we were working from home well and truly before a lot of people were. To be honest with you, the market, well, I can only speak about the Sunshine Coast, but the market has just gone gangbusters, for lack of a better term. So the property market is absolutely ridiculous. And I think, you know what, we sometimes in property management get so caught up in the negative, and it's so easy to do that at the moment. But I've looked at it as a glass half full.
We're seeing a bit of a trend towards people leaving the cities and going to the regions. Is that what you think you're experiencing there too?
100%. The Sunshine Coast has an amazing lifestyle here. So I'm seeing a lot of people in IT and other businesses that are really, really maximizing on the lifestyle that COVID has brought them, for lack of a better term. So they can be here, they can work remotely, they can still service their clients, they're still getting, with all due respect, a Melbourne pay salary, and they have the ability to have the lifestyle of the Sunshine Coast. So I think it's the best of both worlds, and I think it is going to diversify and rapidly change our industry. And I'm excited, to be honest. I am really, really excited to see the growth that it brings to the Sunshine Coast and what clients are experiencing as well. It's really lovely to hear.
Amazing. And so what about working with the sales teams now? Because you just said your key role there is a BDM at the moment. So are you still working closely with the sales teams like you were last time we caught up?
Yes, absolutely. So we have quite a small sales team. So there's only 2. And I adore them both. And I think that's really important. You have to work together collectively. The sales agents need to love you. And more to the point, I have been lucky enough to recruit sales agents from other property management businesses, and there's a lot of connecting and brainstorming together, which is nice. And I've always said that. And I said that to a client today. My gripe isn't with the good property managers. There are a few BDMs on the Sunshine Coast that I speak really highly of because they're excellent at what they do. Same with sales agents. I think every BDM really needs to be, when it's respectful, of course, sourcing sales agents that are high performing in key areas that you do want to focus in. And my sales team, I'll go out and help them on a Saturday if they need anything from me. I have sold property with them in the past when clients have insisted that I am involved. And it just helps to sharpen my skill set as well.
Yeah, being a BDM is really, you are in sales, aren't you? So it's kindred spirits in a way.
Yes, and that's it. And I am so much more like Maddie Glynn, who's one of our sales agents. Our personalities are very, very similar. It's nice just to have a banter. I think that there's so much merit in just having colleagues that you can have a humorous time with. So that's honestly my role.
So as a BDM, what are your best sources of leads at the moment? Like, where are you really focusing?
Referral partners. I know that that's the oldest trick in the book, but referral partners and buyer's agents, display home sales agents with no property management arm. So massive to focus on that and really focus on it. I think too many BDMs, and I made the same mistake early on in my career, where I was focusing on every channel of growth and I thought I'm just going to squeeze the absolute life out of it. By focusing on one channel or even 2 channels, if you've got the support from your team, you'll find that it is so much more feasible for you.
Instead of spreading yourself too thin is, I guess, what you're saying, because there's lots of channels for BDMs at the moment. There's sales teams, there's referral partners, there's social media, there's, I suppose, letterbox drops, like a whole bunch of stuff. But if you focus on one and get really good at it, it allows you to scale so much quicker.
I agree. And I think, and it's interesting that you say letterbox dropping, because I think we need to be a little bit more strategic. We need to be a little bit more forward thinking. An example of that is when I do a letterbox drop, what I do is if we've got a property that is leased in a particular street, I will cross-reference the owner's names, find out who they are, and private inbox them on Facebook with a video talking about that particular property. So I've had really good feedback on that because there's merit, and I go on about this all the time. You need to create an individual experience for a mass amount of people. Sounds ridiculous, but I hate the word service. I never use it. I hate it. I am all about creating a individual experience for every person.
Yeah, as an example, in the case of a letterbox drop, because I love that, you've got to create an individual experience for a wide group of people. Can you give us just a little example of how you do that?
So I have a core area that I focus on, and there was a particular property that we rented $40 over market, and it could potentially due to COVID and the demand that we're experiencing at the moment. I just did a piece to camera out the front of the property, and I made a little joke that I was creating my own monopoly because I'm walking down the street and I'm hoping to collect all of them. And honestly, what you see is what you get. Unfortunately for me, I am a terrible poker player. Everything is very transparent with me. So I tend to be just laughing at myself at the camera, and I've never met the person, and I'll send that off as a private inbox when I find the person on Facebook. It's a tad scary. I totally agree. I've only had about 4 restraining orders in my life. I'm kidding. But the point of that is, if I was a landlord and I was receiving a private inbox message with a video and I see my property as one of the properties while I'm walking down the street, and I'm thinking, well, I actually haven't heard from my property manager in 6 months. That is amazing that she's gone to the effort to find me, be on my street, send me a video, and provide information as to what the market's doing at the moment, and just providing, and I'm not asking for anything. I think I made that mistake really early on in my career where I'm just checking in. I'm just touching base. Stop touching people's base. Stop doing that.
I'm going to remember that now. Yeah. Stop touching people's bases.
Stop doing it. You know, I prefer give, no take. They will come to you. They absolutely will, because they'll appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And they'll appreciate your sense of humour too, I reckon.
Oh, yes. And that's the thing. I'm one of those people. Either love or you hate me. And that's just it, you know?
Yeah, smile. That's the best defence. So you just said, like, eventually they will come to you. And I remember when we talked to you for the article that we did in the magazine, you were very passionate about making sure that each incoming lead was dealt with super fast. So what is your strategy for making sure that you get there in time and that you're the first to start that conversation with a potential landlord?
Have a good bloody team. Like I said, there's a whole host of people that are behind my success. I'm just the forefront of it, but I have an incredible team that work really closely with me, and they see how I operate. When a landlord comes into the office, chances are I'm already reaching out at some other way. So to tie that in nicely, a little segue, I'll tell you a story. A landlord posted on the Sunshine Coast Community Board, and I was very lucky enough to have a lot of my clients messaging them, and I just quickly inboxed them straight away. And then as that was all occurring, he walked into my office, and my leasing manager, Sam, sat him down and gave him a very brief rundown of our services and said, Jamie will absolutely be in touch. So Sam's obviously sent that to me while the gentleman's getting in the car. I give him a call straight away, and I already inboxed him 5 minutes ago. So have your fingers in all the pies.
Yeah, and use the team well.
Yes, I think just take them to pitches. I love doing it. I really like to take them because then they, first and foremost, you do have a responsibility, if you've been in the industry for as long as you have, to educate people that are going out there and speaking to clients. You have a responsibility to pass along that knowledge, because we are doing ourselves an injustice by not teaching the next generation of property management or sales agents correctly. Look, I really enjoy that aspect. I enjoy taking them out. I enjoy teaching them and advancing their career. And I've had a few understudies, if that's the right word, a few understudies, and they've gone on to bigger and better things. And it's so nice to watch their growth as well.
Yeah. What about people that are just shopping, because like a lot of landlords will, call 3 or 4 places and go, yeah, I'm just shopping. I'm just looking around. Just give me your management fees. What sort of strategy do you use with them?
It's a little bit controversial.
Okay. I like controversy most days.
Oh, be charming. I know that that's ridiculous, and people say, Jamie, I don't have your confidence and I don't have your knowledge and experience. And I say, you're not meant to. But just be yourself, have a laugh with them, get to the bottom of why they're calling you, ask them questions, don't assume. A lot of people think, oh, you've called 4 agents, you're just doing it for the fees. It's not always the way. Sometimes it's if you really get down to the crux of somebody's desire into why they're making all of these phone calls, because the one thing I can tell you people is time poor. Why are they going around calling 4 property managers? And I'm not saying that it's a one size fits all. We're in property management. We're dealing with people. You need to ask the questions. What's important to you? Is it price, or is it the level of the experience of the property manager? Is it who you're assigned to? Is it your preferred method of communication? Why are you changing? Ask those questions. And I would immediately say, I'm not able to give you a fee structure without knowing exactly what you desire from the service.
So you do provide a customised fee structure depending on what the client wants?
Absolutely. I think it's silly not to educate your BDM in where the business does make profit. We're all here to make profit. Absolutely. We don't want to be in a property management business where the company isn't moving forward. Why is that taboo? That we're here to, increase wealth in every aspect of it. And I don't think that needs to be something that we shy away from. I'm very proud of it. Yes, this is our fee structure with this property manager. This property manager has also been through 16 years of experience. They've earned their stripes. I've always loved that saying, you don't pay the plumber to hit the pipe. You pay the plumber to know where to hit the pipe.
Yeah, that is good. I'm going to write down some of your one-liners. They're excellent. Also, my good friend, Coach Claudio Encina, he would say being charming is a good answer, because I think he invented that verb, increase your charmability.
And I'm going to throw this one out there. As women, we're so terrified of being charming. We hold back so much.
You're also a firm believer in the power of social media, and I think, just rewind 10 minutes ago, you were telling us how you did a video out the front of a house. But what's your favourite social media platform at the moment, and what types of content do you post?
Oh, that's a hard one. All of them. Give me it all. I'm an addict. No. I do think TikTok could potentially be, not at this stage. Facebook is very traditional, but I think everyone is moving towards Instagram, and it's been that way for a really long time. I believe Facebook is more of an educational platform now, where I post a lot of the REIQ releases, videos with buyer's agents, quantity surveyors, that kind of thing, because that's where people go to be educated. I mean, you still need to have social with it, but be charming. I do have a personal Instagram account, and I very, very sneakily integrate my real estate life, because people on Instagram, they do want to be sold to, they just don't know about it. The amount of crap, Samantha, I have ordered on Instagram, and I think I am my own worst enemy. I am like a Schumer. But I think it's really important to do raw, genuine, honest. I put a story up this morning about how I was in these townhouses doing an open home, and then I was in the garage and I heard all of the neighbours start yelling good morning to each other. It was the cutest thing I've ever heard, and I thought, that is a really nice story. Some people they want to know about your day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so have you dabbled in TikTok yet?
Oh, look, I have, but I'm mostly getting traction with videos of my dog. So she's a lot more famous than me, Samantha. She's prettier too, so it doesn't surprise me. But
I know some pretty famous dogs and cats of real estate agents on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and everything.
They are the future, I'm telling you.
Yeah, completely, because then you get all the dog and cat lovers, right?
Yeah. So not a lot of traction. And truth be told, behind the scenes, I'm a huge dork. I am such a nerd. So anything that I do, it's just not quite there, or I fall down, or I have a wardrobe malfunction. I mean, the stories I could tell you, it's ridiculous, but huge dork.
I think people love that though, because, you're showing them the value that you bring by going through all of the dorky tough stuff, like everything from the wardrobe malfunctions to, how many properties you visit to the narky dog to, all of that sort of stuff. Like, I actually think that adds to the picture of what you do to earn your fee.
Yeah, 100%. And I think you need to create a personality, and don't make sure that it's genuine, because people see through that. Gone are the days where you can have the sneaky, sly little BDM or sales agent. People see through that, and they just want someone who is passionate about their role and trying to do the absolute best they bloody can for their clients. And it's a funny story in my office, and the girls just mock me endlessly, but I had an owner who, I did videos. I do a lot of videos and video walkthroughs and describing the features of the property. Anyway, so for 6 months, I'm such an idiot. For 6 months, I was walking into built-in robes, calling them pantries. So I go out and I do this pitch presentation with this couple who I adore. Anyway, so I opened the cupboard and he had this big cheesy grin on his face, and there was Nutri-Grain sitting right there in his walk-in robe. And I said, "Are you hiding that from the kids? Like, do you have an ant problem?" And he goes, "No, you call it a pantry." And I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "In your video that you sent me last week when you were showing us marketing strategies." And I said, "Oh my good God, are you joking?" And he said, "No, did you not know?" I said, "What kind of moron would send you a video calling the cupboard a pantry?" Anyway, they're long life clients of mine, and we all just sat there and had a laugh. And I think people get so caught up in social media and worried about exactly that. But it afforded me the business.
Yeah, I think the big tip here for everyone listening is to lean into who you are.
Yes.
Even if you do make a mistake or two.
Oh, you can never do as bad as me, so don't worry about it. People are looking for that. They're not looking for, and some people are, don't get me wrong, but my kind of clients aren't looking for, a slicked back little wink agent. They're looking for someone who's just doing their best.
Yeah, absolutely. What about getting higher value properties onto your rent roll? Is there a specific strategy for that as well?
I have been very lucky to be able to do that. And I think don't be afraid to market those properties like a sales agent would. That is honestly my best advice. We do a lot of professional video marketing where we have a videographer and a photographer and show up and do floor plans and do signboards, because elite clients are looking for an elite property manager, and not all, but some will really see the benefits that you're trying to cater to that audience. And you have to think, if a tenant's paying anywhere from $800 to $1,500 a week, they will naturally be a little bit more high maintenance. And you know what? If I was paying a business $1,500 a week, I most likely would be too. And it's not always the way, but you do need to cater to that clientele. You do need to do the private inspections. And I'm not saying that if a property is worth $300, you provide any less of a service. Absolutely not. But there is an element of an elite audience when they're paying that amount of money. So you need to give them all the options. Don't just assume people want to just get photos and that's it. And I have made that mistake in my career where I think people don't see the benefits on marketing a property that's for rent effectively. That's not always the way. There are some owners that take real pride in how their property is marketed.
Definitely. And what you're saying there makes perfect sense. So if you want to get the higher value properties onto your rent roll, then you need to act the part. You need to be the person that somebody would expect to be managing their property or dealing with high net worth tenants.
I agree. And I think we get stuck in this tunnel vision where we think, oh, well, I wouldn't like that, so I won't worry about it. And a large majority of my clients, well, you're not the client. So I think we need to almost chameleon ourselves to have a better understanding of exactly what they're looking for, because the pitch is not about you. You shouldn't be speaking more than the client. It is about them, and it's about understanding how to service them. And the only way you're going to know is to ask.
Yeah, absolutely. What advice can you give to people for following up prospects without being totally annoying?
Gifts. So ridiculous, I agree. But when I'm following a client up and say they're not ready for another 3 to 6 months, I'll ask them that. If they want an email, send them an email. If they prefer text, send them a text. If they want you to call them, then do that. Understand that first and foremost. Secondly, give them information they want to know. Don't send them generic information that you're sending to 3,000 people. Send them a one-form insight report on their property. Send them properties that have rented in their street, even if it's not yours. think, if I was that client, what information would I want to receive? I don't want to receive your leasing stats for Caloundra when I live in Caboolture. You have to really break down and understand exactly what that client wants and use that, because everyone is sending them generic newsletters about legislation changes. And I'm not saying that there's not a place for that. There absolutely is. If you're touching base with a hot client once a month with really valuable and articulated information, they will respect that and remember you.
Okay, let's get back to the awards for a second, because that's part of the reason that we're here. So for people that might be entering the areas this year, what tips could you give them for a winning submission?
Be yourself, brainstorm your submission. Don't feel like you can't ask advice. Don't be afraid to ask questions and bounce off people. Two heads are better than one. Speak to people about what you're thinking. It does need to come from you. Someone else can't write it for you. It's an epic platform, for lack of a better term. And what you're saying on that platform needs to matter. So what is your message? What is your why? Why are you wanting this? If it's for the glory, good. I love you. I adore you. We will go to the Grammys together when we get there. But if it's for making sure that you have a platform to create serious change in the industry, then you're a winner in my eyes.
Well, for someone like Code Property too, like having Australia's top property manager on their team is like, wow, isn't it?
Yes, I remind them all the time when I do something silly.
Jamie, what does the next 12 months look like for you?
Oh, that's a good one. I really want to diversify our service structure. I was talking to Candace last week about moving forward with educating clients with the right people, connecting them to financial advisors, connecting them to brokers. I meet a lot of clients that have the ability to really grow their wealth in an investment portfolio, but they just don't know where to start. So I would love if we had the platform and the ability to do that with our clients. I would love if a client came to me in their early 20s, which I have seen. I do have a very, very favorable client who I've seen now buy their second property. So seeing that is my why, seeing these people that are Aussie battlers or underdogs really grow and create wealth, and they're still as humble as ever because of a small thing that I said changed their entire trajectory of their life.
That's an amazing goal, actually, to sort of have the customers at the centre like that. So, Jamie, gosh, it's been fantastic catching up with you, just what I needed on a Friday afternoon. Thank you for sharing some of your knowledge and strategies, which I'm sure there's some BDMs out there writing them down madly.
And I would love to hear from them. Tell them to inbox me, call me. I love a chat. I love a cocktail. I love a coffee.
Be careful what you wish for.
I would be happy to help any BDM, even in my market.
Beautiful. If there was one thing that you would like to leave people with, what would it be?
Surround yourself with people who make you better, because that's the one thing that I have definitely done over the past 2 years is I'm surrounded by men and women that challenge me and question me and push me, which I do need sometimes. And find the way that you retain knowledge and just suck it all up. I cannot read to save a life. I am way too high frequency for that. I need to listen to audiobooks and podcasts, and I'm constantly just soaking in all the knowledge from everywhere. Don't just focus on real estate podcasts, but reach out, listen to TED Talks, listen to motivational speakers, listen to shameless podcasts, listen to all of that, because I get a little piece and a little golden nugget from every podcast that I'm consuming, and make sure it's the right knowledge, because anything that you learn on a daily basis is going to help you personally and professionally.
Yeah, amazing. And I'm sure you've helped a lot of people today. Jamie Billerwell, thank you so much.
I hope so. Thank you for having me.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Elevate from Elite Agent. To download your written action guide from this podcast containing extra tips, links and shortcuts, visit eliteagentelevate.com.